and welcome you watching the Small and Mid Cap Show. I am Mahima Vachrajani and with me is Harsh Saita.
We have the management with us to try and break this down a little bit further. Dr. Hanuma Prasad Modali, who's the MD of Deccan Gold Mines, joins us live. Good morning, sir. It's good having you here.
Good morning, Harsh, and good morning, Mahima. Thanks for having me on this show. Yeah.
So, Mr. Modali, talk to us about what this means for Deccan Gold. I'm not sure if there is a reserve which you've already found, or you have a quantification of how much of reserves are there. But give us some perspective on what this means and how quickly can you start extracting, and a broad ballpark on how much would you expect in terms of revenue from this this new find.
Yeah, thank you very much once again. I'll start with a caveat. It's not a reserve as yet, because in the geological parlance, it is still in the very initial stages. Tanzania has been one of our main focus, key component of our strategy. We have these licenses for last few years, but in the last 1 year, we have intensified our exploration activity in Tanzania. We had licenses for gold, and that's where last 1 year we have been exploring, and we have discovered a few quartz veins. If I sound a bit technical, we found quartz veins with very high grade gold in it, but it requires a lot of exploration. In the next 1 to 2 years, we'll be exploring, and a lot of drilling activity has to be done. So it's not that the reserve has been quantified in that sense, but it's a potential area which we'll be developing in the next 2 years. So simultaneously, what we did in the last couple of years, we have seen this critical mineral sector is going to be very critical for us, particularly for India. And we have started diversifying into the critical mineral sector. As a part of that, we already acquired a license in Chhattisgarh that is for the nickel, which is probably one of the first nickel licenses to be acquired in this country through auction we got last year. So we are trying to expand the critical mineral portfolio of the company. So in Tanzania, which is again a good jurisdiction, it's known for its mining activity, and there are potential areas. So we have done a lot of, if I say that's the desktop studies we have done, and also a little bit of field work we did, and we have identified a few potential areas for the lithium and associated metals. And we have applied for the licenses. Actually, we got the license now, about 100.49 square kilometers of license. But again, it would require a lot of exploration. I insist again and again on this. It is not reserved at, it requires a lot of exploration, but it is a very potential ground. So once we start the exploration, what happens is in these critical minerals and also minerals like gold, it would take about 2 to 3 years of intense exploration. If we discover the deposit in that way, then we need to set up a small processing plant on the site. So the idea is we set up the processing plant, prepare the concentrates, lithium and the associated metals, and those concentrates probably will bring it to India, and that is where the market is going to be.
Right.
So that will take about 2 to 3 years for us.
Right, Mr. Modali. So I'm just trying to understand your business. You said that you've already acquired the license for lithium. Your exchange filing said that this has been recommended for a grant. So I just wanted to understand that when you try to explore these mines, a lot of expenses will be incurred. So does this mean that you will be getting grant for this? And if yes, this grant will be offered by the Tanzanian government. How does this work, and how will this affect your P&L?
See, it's initially when we applied, it was recommended for the grant. That was what the BSc filings we did. And actually, yesterday it was granted to us. So once we have the grant, then we'll go and spend the money for the. I think in the next 3 years, roughly around $8 to $10 million we need to spend on the exploration. Once that is done, as I said, we'll apply for the mining lease based on the resources and the reserves. It will, in terms of license, conversion of the mining lease, it is seamless there also in Tanzania. So we hopefully, once we identify the reserve, we'll get into the mining stage. And in terms of P&L, if I just give a ballpark figure, our target is like producing about 30,000 tons to 75,000 tons of lithium concentrate. So if we are able to do that through our processing operations, I think we would be looking at anywhere around 20 to 40 million dollars of revenue on the annual basis with 50%. That's how it would look like. And the concentrates will come to India.
Sure, point taken. How quickly will you get there?
I think it will take 2 to 3 years, not before that.
And this is only lithium, if I understand
Uh,
correctly.
no, not exactly lithium. Lithium is the main component in it, but
Sure.
generally these kind of deposits, that's the strategy we have. These hard rock lithium mines, particularly in Africa, they will have lithium, tantalum, and cesium. Some of those are used for the processors and those kind of things. So lithium would be the main revenue bearing metal in it, but
Sure.
we'll have a significant amounts of tantalum that will come out as a byproduct, which is also a very valuable metal, in fact, that is used in processors, semiconductors, etc. So that's a strategy, geological strategy, if I say, that's what we have in mind.
Right, but
So,
sorry, but your revenue guidance is with regard to only lithium, is it?
Yeah, as and today, that's what we are, because
Sure.
lithium and cesium, tantalum and cesium, it could, I mean, we do not know exactly what are the percentages of those metal available in this. So I am not projecting any of those revenue.
right. Right. So for the revenue guidance that you've given, what does your margin look like then for the next 2 to 3 years?
From the Tanzanian operations, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 to 3 years, we are not going to get anything out of Tanzania. That's for sure. Because exploration takes 2 years, another 1 year, setting up the plants and all. It will be after 3 years only we will have these kind of things, revenue coming out of that place.
Right. So even after 3 years, what does the margin in your business look like? Just trying to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, around 50% EBITDA, and then the tax on that. Around 30% is the tax on that. So
Sure.
if you start off at in the peak stage, if it is going to be $40 million is the revenue, then I think you can work out based on that.
Got it. And with regard to your capex plans there, how do you plan to fund it? Because I've seen over the last couple of years your borrowings have started to inch up. You have operations outside of Tanzania, which is in India, etc., starting to come on stream probably in FY25. So how should one look at your numbers starting FY25? Because it will probably be the first year where you're going to start recognizing a large chunk of revenue, right?
Yes, exactly. This year, the plan is to bring two of our mines. One is in India and one is in Kyrgyzstan onto the product. So I think from next year onwards, we start realizing some revenue out of these two mines, and which will be pumped back into this exploration and also further capital requirement for this lithium and those kind of things in Tanzania. So there will be some money required, and we are trying to raise. I think we would require about $25 million, but it's in a staged manner. That's what we are going to raise in the next 1 year.
Okay. Okay. So that's all that we have in terms of Deccan Gold. Thank you so much, Mr. Mudali, for speaking with us, giving us that perspective, and wishing you all the very best for how FY25 pans out.